The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to The Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of The Shit Podcast. I have a very special guest, stand-up comedian from Mexico City. He's a fantastic stand-up comedian, and he's also a psychologist. So I'm taking advantage of him being here so we could talk about certain things. I want to talk about weird fetishes.
Wow.
I know
fetishes,
sexual fetishes.
Wow.
I know that that's part of psychology. So it's something I thought, okay, I want to talk about this stuff, see what your opinion is on it. The very first detail that I found was talking about a fetish where, especially in men, they haven't found the name for it yet, but they found that there's a fetish where men particularly have a fetish of watching a woman drown in quicksand.
Quicksand?
In quicksand. Yeah. And so
I always ask myself, how do they do that scientific investigations?
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Yeah.
How they measure the sexual arousal of the men watching females on quicksand?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
They said, and you know, in their defense, they said that they based this study on the fact that there's an uptick in porn and different things on the internet that have to deal particularly with this scenario.
So, like offer and demand.
Yeah.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Wow. That's the new one.
That's a new one. Yeah, I know. This is like, I was like, whoa, I've never heard of this before. I haven't even seen a video of this before.
Wow.
But the study that they did stated that there's two possibilities.
Okay.
And the first possibility is that the guy has a hero complex. And he feels that if the woman is drowning in quicksand, he can swoop down and rescue her.
Okay.
That's one school of thought. The other school of thought is that they like to see fear in the other person's eyes, you know, so that is a turn on, and that's something that when
what happened with the women?
Yeah,
on quicksand.
Yeah,
they have a sexual arousal.
No, the men do watching this.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
How do you ask for a woman to do that?
Yeah, it's like we're gonna drop a rope. Don't worry. I promise you, I'll get you out. You know, no, but I thought it was very interesting because I was listening to Leyendas, and they were talking about the Night Stalker, and then later on there was a documentary on Netflix that talked about the Night Stalker, and there was one woman in particular that confronted him at the front door. Mm-hmm. And then he decided not to kill her, right? He had already shot her friend, and she had come back, and he decided. And psychologists that were being interviewed said that they thought that since she was no longer afraid, he no longer felt turned on by that.
I think that the power game with the Night Stalker was that I'm seeing you
be scared.
Yeah. And you don't even notice. Mm-hmm. So that's the power game in the night. Night.
So I think this is a very similar fetish. You know, I think it's the same thing where the person has no way of escaping, and the fear is what turns these guys.
I have the power to save your life. Yeah. So, oh wow.
Yeah, right. So that was
wow.
Yeah, that was a new one for me.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow. There's another one that's called, and I might say it wrong because they're complicated names, but this is simorophilia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is a fetish that causes arousal when you witness disasters.
What?
Yeah, so there's people that get turned on, and this was a study done in 1984 by John Money, who wrote an entire paper about this fetish. An example: a car accident. So when they see a car accident, it turns them on.
Wow.
You know?
It makes a little sense because the brain zones that are associated with fear are so close to pleasure ones.
Okay.
So there's a place in brain named amygdala. There's the zone, the brain zone where the anger and sexual arousal and fear and all of them are
Close
so
together.
close together. So it may be have so little sense because of that.
Yeah, I believe that that's probably why a lot of the BDSM and the masochism and all that is associated also with arousal, because it's said that the fear arouses them, but also knowing that you're not really in danger. So they witness somebody else in a disaster, but they're not necessarily in the disaster themselves. And they even gave the example of the people that chase like tornadoes.
Okay.
You know how a lot of those people might have that
And
fetish.
I'm thinking that the shot of adrenaline makes that your frontal lobe shuts down, and that's why so people, for example, have proposals of marriage when they are jumping in parachute and things like that, because the frontal lobe it's shut down. So it's more difficult to make decisions quickly.
Yeah, there was some of the fetishes that I read talked about that, how when you're in love you don't make good decisions, and it's because it's like you're high, you're on dopamine, so you don't make good decisions. You're high the whole time, you know, and they said it's the endorphins and everything else that are being released, and the dopamine that's being released into your body. That's being released into your brain, that's causing you not to make rational decisions. That explains why we all get divorced eventually. This is trichophilia. And this is a fetish where people love hair.
Eating hair, no?
Eating hair or long hair or hair all over the body. Wow. But it's just a fetish with hair. You know, so I've seen a lot of old dudes without a shirt. They look like werewolves, and then they have like
go to the barber shop just to see the floor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. It makes sense though, because they say that this is also the reason why women particularly are attracted to guys with stubble or beards, and so now you know why I wear a beard. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I was thinking about the testosterone. So the testosterone made your corporal hair and hair in your body go growing up. So it may be.
I heard that excess testosterone makes your hair fall out.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have too much testosterone, that's why a lot of men go bald. I even do a whole bit about it on my stand-up. And I talk about how they do have medication now to help you
suppress the testosterone.
Yeah, so they suppress testosterone. So you grow your hair back, but then you can't get hard. And I do a whole joke about that. Like if you have to choose between hair and
hard decisions.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bald. I don't care. That's the deal, you know. There's one that I didn't find a lot of information, but apparently it exists. It's called lithophilia. And that's when people get aroused with stones, rocks, gravel. You know, so that they find that stuff very arousing. I don't understand how. I don't know why or what they do, but apparently there's that type of a fetish where there's actually people who get turned on by rocks.
Wow. In a desert, there's like an orgy. You know? Oh my God.
We have rocks, fellas. This one, I've actually had a lot of people message me on social media where there's a fetish. It's called chirophilia, right? Yeah, and that is a specific fetish for hands. Yeah. So people like hands. They like fingers. They like. And I understand the foot fetish because that's very common, but it happens a lot. Happens a lot with hands, and it says that it does happen a lot with women especially because they imagine strong hands, massages, that kind of stuff, and so it's erotic to them.
Okay.
Chirophilia.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it said there's a lot of different things that happen with the hands, like using the fingers, using the fist. I'm not.
Where the hand do end?
The hand ends right here.
Right here.
Yeah, this is the wrist.
So this is abuse.
This is abuse. Yeah.
This is harassment.
Yeah. Right.
Here's the hand. This is harassment.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep that in mind. And so it says some people get aroused by the sexual aspect of it. Other people get aroused by doing everyday things with your hands. So like if you're grabbing a grocery bag, that can be a turn on for someone.
Wow.
Right?
Like
I'm turning a wrench, Oh, yeah.
Do it again.
Do it again. Yeah.
Can I film you typing in your computer, please?
Yeah. This one was abseophiliacs. Abseophiliacs are into leg braces and other orthopedic appliances.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. If I knew that information years ago, I'll go as sexual symbol.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, there's people that get turned on by like neck braces, leg braces. And I don't understand. I don't get that, But
wow. I don't know if you heard about devotees. It's people that gets aroused with people with disabilities.
Yes, they talk
kind of.
Yeah, it even talked about like amputees.
Yeah,
that there's people who get aroused with amputees.
So if there's a devotee, I could play like leg braces, and I'll do it. If you pay for it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I thought that was like interesting, and maybe it has to also do with the power and control, no?
Yeah. Or the notion that I could grab you every time I want.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Psychrophilia is arousal to being cold and watching others who are cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah, it's pretty, I mean, right?
Wow.
I didn't find a lot of information about that, but I was like, wow, that's pretty
weird.
Interesting. I don't get that. I don't like being cold at all, but there's people that get aroused by that. So that explains the whole state of Minnesota.
Wow.
This I witnessed personally. A friend of mine, a stand-up comedian, I'm not going to name names. We were on the road doing shows, and this is him. Lactophilia.
Wow.
Gets turned on by women who are lactating. And I've witnessed this guy. I'm not going to name names. But I've witnessed this guy talking to girls, and he finds out that they just had a baby. And he asks them if they're still producing milk. And they say yes. And then he has them go into the bathroom with a shot glass. And then they come back with breast milk. And then he'll video himself drinking the shot glass of breast milk. Right, and he'll put this up, and this is like after a show or during a show, and I'll be like, dude, what's going on? He goes, it's healthy. He goes, it's like cows drinking milk from cows. Well, we drink milk from women. Yeah, he goes, we're people, so we drink people milk.
Wow,
it's healthy for you. It's got a lot of antibodies. I'm going like, yeah, it could also have diseases. I don't know. I mean, but the guy is into that, and so there's people that are lactophiles. And they want to watch a woman who's lactating or consume her breast milk. And in a relationship, it might be a man and a woman, the woman expressing breast milk, and the latter, the man, would be consuming it. So it's like a mother-child type relationship.
Wow. I saw this chapter in CSI series where a millionaire pays for women to breast him, and he gets with diapers.
Diapers. That's a different fetish, but that's a fetish where you want to be a baby.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's also a power and control thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the man wants to be dominated and the woman does the dominating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is I know a particular case of a guy that liked to always cry like a baby and act like a baby around his wife, and his wife was like, "All right, I had enough of that," But the guy was like, he loved pretending to be a baby.
Wow.
Those are a little more common. What I tried to find was some that I'd never heard of, and this is the one that this is like the royal flush. This is like the actual like one that I went.
I'm waiting for it. Wow.
Right? It's called vorophilia. Vorophilia. It's shortened to vore, and it's fantasies about eating someone, like physically eating them, or watching someone being eaten, chewed, and swallowed.
Wow.
Right? And so it's a cannibalism influenced sexual interest that involves being eaten alive. So it's usually like watching someone consume someone or pretending that they're consuming someone. And I said that a lot of the people that are into this will actually watch an animation of somebody being consumed while they're in the sexual act with their partner.
Wow.
So it's a turn on to think of eating someone.
I read about a serial killer in Japan, Issei Sagawa, that chase women and it chops like butt cheeks and eat the butt cheeks in front of the women.
Wow.
So it gets aroused, and when they interviewed him, he said that she wants to get some of her souls inside himself. So getting so more pleasure in life. I don't know how it works in his head, but it was so creepy.
Yeah. I saw a documentary on cannibalism some years back, and they were talking about how anthropologists believe that we were all cannibals at one time. And they say that you can see that in how we play with babies. They said, like, you'll see a baby and you go, who's a cute baby? And you'll put their fingers in your mouth and you'll pretend that you're biting them. And he says, and that's something that we learned ancestrally.
Okay.
And so the vorophilia, it shocked me, but remembering what I saw in that documentary, it makes a certain amount of sense. And some of the cannibals that anthropologists studied believe that if they ate a warrior, then they would get that warrior's powers.
Yeah.
And I understand that aspect of it, but sexually I also understand it's like having the other person inside of you.
Yeah.
So it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's super creepy, but in a certain way you go, okay, it kind of makes sense.
Following that logic line, it makes sense.
It makes sense. But it's creepy. Don't do it. It's not cool.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try it at home. But that's what I have for this episode of the Shit Podcast. Thank you for joining me. I think it was pretty interesting. Like I said, I'd love to do this again. We could do like a part 2 of these 2 different episodes. Yeah. Please. It's crazy because there was so many fetishes. I mean, I have a friend that is a magician.
Yeah.
And he does balloon animals.
Okay.
And he's really good. Like, he can make a Harley Davidson out of balloons.
Wow.
And it looks like a Harley Davidson. He would make clothes for people out of balloons.
Okay.
So much so he developed an allergy to latex.
Okay.
So now he wears rubber gloves when he's making balloons, and he says he still gets all like a scratchy throat and all that kind of stuff from being around the latex. But he was talking about a balloon fetish where people actually have balloon fetishes.
Yeah.
And it's like they'll pop balloons between them and stuff, and when the balloon pops, it gives them that little adrenaline rush. So there's all kinds of crazy fetishes out there. I thought I would share some with you and get your perspective as a psychologist, and I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing it in English. It's a pleasure to be able to share this with my friends from all over the Mexico and Latin America.
That's friends that's the friends we do.
Yeah.
Sharing shit.
Share shit. Yeah. So thank you. Where can people find you on your social media?
Find me like Kike Bien Parado.
Kike Bien Parado. Y muchos de los que nos escuchan hablan español, así es de que actually a lot of our listeners are Latin American, and so
so I'll do this in Spanish. Síganme como @Kike Bien Parado en todas las redes sociales.
Está bien. And you can find me on social media as Tu Amigo Sam. That's TU Amigo Sam. And on all platforms for podcasts as Sta Cagado Podcast. This is the English version of that podcast. We're on the same channel. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell, leave your comments. If you have any other interesting fetishes, please share them with us. Thanks to all the Cagadienses, the group on Facebook. Share all the stuff there too. Thank you guys, and that's it for this episode of the Shit Podcast.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for being here, buddy.